Shahidi kushika mzadi. Rasha. Hello everybody, good evening. Mufelola, evening. Rochelle White, good evening. Mayowa, good evening. Shioma, evening. Harmonica, good evening. Charles Smith, good evening. Sorry guys that I came a bit late today. We were having that fascinating interview session, Ask Pastor Sunday. Today it was more like Ask Dr. Sufficient. She was the one providing most of the answers today. And I enjoyed the program thoroughly. So nice to see you guys. Thank you for coming. Today I'm going to have a unique time with a unique person. And please go ahead and share the link as you are coming in. Let's go and share the link while others will come and join us. We will start our session with Dr. Sufficient Bien, the author of The Beauty of Challenges. And you know that that book is being released today on Amazon. And so I want to use this opportunity to introduce her to you. And she's going to talk to us about herself, about her book, and about our plans for the future. And okay, if you have shared the link, let's start now. I'm sure many people would think that we are no more coming because we came a bit late today, but they will discover that we'll be here. So here we go. Welcome, help me welcome Dr. Sufficient. Hello, Doctor.
Good evening, Pastor. Good evening, everyone. You're welcome.
Good evening, good evening. Nice to see you.
Thank you,
now,
Pastor.
I've decided to invite you today because you are releasing your book,
Right.
The Beauty of Challenges. What caused you to write that book?
Okay, what caused me to write the book? Firstly, the book was inspired by different things I had to go through in life. I believe my life, from as I could remember, has been a series of from one challenge to the other, in different categories and on different levels. So one thing I discovered is that the more I persevered and overcame each step of those challenges, I get promoted to the next phase of my life. So I got to discover that challenges are actually not as negative as the general masses say it's to be. I began to do some research on it, and when I started reading the biographies of great people and what they did and what they had to go through to do that, I now discovered that actually what has been happening in my life is not just coincidence but the principle of life. Even though I have been living it, but I never really knew that it was a principle. So I got to discover that from my researches, that every great person had a story and had a price they had to pay. So, and apart from that, presently, that was before I finished medical school and all that. From the little I was doing then and all that, I get to meet a lot of young people that admire me and they wish they are me, or they are able to do what I'm doing and all that. So that was what led to writing that book, because a lot of people are not ready to pay the price for greatness, but they admire greatness, or they wish they have greatness, but they are not ready to pay the price for it. So that was the reason for the book. It was motivated out of my pain and the researches I did.
Well. What do you intend that the people who will read that book get? Because every book must have a purpose. and that purpose must be met. So what do you want them to get at the end of the day after reading the book?
Okay, what I want people to get from that book, firstly, is hope. Because a lot of people give up on life when things are tough, when things don't come out the way they planned, or probably when they do not hit their goal, when life is not as pleasant as they expected it to be. Some people give up hope because they feel that where they were born into, the family they were born into, or the color of their skin, their sex is a disadvantage, and as such, there is no much they could do because fate has not smiled on them. So basically, the goal of that book is
destiny.
The goal of that book is to let you know that you're the one that is in charge of your destiny. It does not matter where you were born, your background, the difficulties you had, your country of origin. If you are going to decide that you will make something out of your life, you want to be successful, you can be successful. And to give hope to those who have given up hope on life, those who are in one particular pain or the other, or people who are like me too, that probably might be struggling and overcoming their challenges, and they have not known that this is actually a principle of life. There is a different understanding that you have when you begin to know that this is not all about you. It's not about luck. Everyone that has become great in life has something they have to overcome. So with that understanding, you're going to be able to better handle your challenges. So you're not going to see it as something that is negative, but rather positive. So the book is going to help people discover that challenges are like stepping stones to greatness. So it's not all about negativity, but we are to teach people to see the positivity in challenges that most people would think is something negative.
Okay, somebody is saying that they are really okay, let me just read it.
Okay.
Congratulations, Dr. Sufficient, for the successful launching of the book.
Right.
I'm anxious to lay my hands on it here in Nigeria.
Okay.
How can they do that? Like that? Is it on Okada?
Not yet. They can get it on Amazon. I believe Nigerians can get books on Amazon. No? Mm-hmm. Okay, so probably later on it will be on Okada, but presently it's only on Amazon. But okay, we'll make it available to people in Nigeria on Okada later on.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so now, as saying, it is something that is not what is welcome in the African churches.
Right.
That the beauty of challenges, it is more like you go for deliverance.
Right.
Or maybe the pastor has to pray for you. Mm-hmm. Even when we met with you, right, you used to tell me that, you know, the experience you've had in Nigeria is that people will say that either you have not done one thing or the other. Maybe you have not given your tithe, or you have some sin in your life. You used to tell me things like that either somebody has sinned. What are they, you know, I want you to explain to people, what are the normal Christian African understanding of difficulties, challenges, and what are the things wrong with those things, and, you know, what is really the truth?
Okay, the wrong thing about the African perspective, or let's say the religious perspective of challenges, is that the African society, or let's say coming from the religious angle now, they've actually painted challenges to be something negative. All right, so people just feel that when you have to go through tough time or different kind of things in life, there are two things. It's either you're suffering from generational curses, or probably you have some sin in your life, or maybe someone is doing you something. Yeah, that's the most popular one. It's either your enemies are against you, or your mother did something, or your father did something, or your uncle, they are calling you from the village, you know, different kinds of ideologies. So the moment someone starts something, maybe the person went into business probably with not sufficient knowledge on what he's going in, and that crumbles, they will say, oh, my enemies are against me, this one is doing that one. So because of those kind of wrong mindsets, people are not becoming lazy in their mind. So they would rather go to church and be praying, taking tithe to pastor, sowing seed here and there to get breakthrough, instead of embracing the challenge they are facing and learn what led to that failure in the first place, to correct it and to take the right actions. So there is always something negative to be attached to a challenge in a believer's life. Sorry? Oh, okay. There's always something negative attached to a believer going through challenges. So some people will even tell you something like, okay, Jesus suffered, so you're not meant to suffer again. You know, recite this one, quote that one, the blessings of the Lord is mine, and all that, I am favored. Say this, recite it, what you say you get, and you know, all those kind of superficiality has not really gotten the church anywhere, because Christians, generally, in my own understanding, in most cases, especially in Africa, they are among the sets of the poorest people in the society. And I could attribute that to this same factor, the inability to tackle problems and to seek for solutions and to embrace challenges as something we have to overcome to get to where we are going. Rather, we attribute either the blame to the devil, or we go to wait on God to do it for us, what he has already asked us to do, simply because we are lazy to tackle the challenges that we are meeting on the way. So it's actually a minus to only see challenges as something negative. We have to change our mindset about challenges and problems, because I believe that sometimes, not even sometimes, most times, the challenges you overcome builds up a stamina in you and equip you for a greater task in the future. So if you love greatness, you want to be great, then you have to learn to tackle challenges. You don't even have to wait for life to bring challenges on your way. You have to daily create challenges for yourself. That is the only way you keep growing, for you not to remain in your comfort zone and be complacent. Keep giving yourself a task that is higher than where you were yesterday, today, and that is all about challenges. Then when life brings its challenges too, to be ready to face it squarely and fight through it without attributing to the devil or probably someone doing you something, or waiting on God to do for you what you're supposed to do for yourself. That is what I can say.
Okay, I have some more questions for you, but some people are also asking you questions. And I will say, if you have questions for Dr. Sufficient, please go ahead and ask the questions that you might have for her, especially regarding her book, The Beauty of Challenges. Now, one question here is that how can you relate your message, the message in your book, with what is the general concept in Nigerian churches, which is the miracle-minded members? Everybody is going to church just for miracles. But you are saying challenges are beauty and they are made to change you. So then the churches will be relevant.
Well, I'm sorry to say, Pastor, but without mincing words, to a great extent, I would say the church in Africa is part of the problem Africa is having. The church in Africa today has become irrelevant. I'm sorry to say, but that is the truth. I'm not in any way castigating the church. I love the church. I've been a church kid all my life. I was born in the church. I'm a part of the church. But somebody has to say the truth. I think it's time for the church to begin to correct the erroneous things that are going on in the church. The church is supposed to be a solution and not a problem. And most of the things we've taught people in church is the reason why that continent is the way it is today. So if I'm going to throw back that question to that person, I would like to ask, how many people we celebrate today in our world are being celebrated because they got a miracle from God? Is it Albert Einstein or Benjamin Franklin or Michael Faraday? How many of them are being celebrated today because they were living on miracles, or some miraculous things happened to them and the God of miracle was with them? So because of that, they did a remarkable thing that they cannot be forgotten in life. So that is actually the kind of myopicness we've had as a church because of this wrong doctrines that are being taught in the church. Miracle is just 2% of life. Life on earth is 98% principles. God is the creator of those principles, and those principles are laid down for us in the Word of God. So why are we going about magnifying that 2% and leaving out the 98% that is also in God's word just because of our laziness and not inability to do what we are supposed to do, because we just want to wait for God to do for us what we are supposed to be doing for ourselves. So yes, to answer your question, the church to a great extent is irrelevant, and we have to change our teachings in the church.
When I preach something like this, one of the questions that I hear from people back in Africa is, then it means, so why are the churches needed then? If you are not going to church for miracles and for breakthroughs, and that is not the most important thing, even though God can do those things sometimes, but if that's not what you are looking for in churches, what are you then looking for in church? Why should church even exist then in the first place? It's because to them, if you are not going to church for miracles and breakthroughs, that's what you are going to church. That's what church is even for in the first place. So if that's not what you are going for, then what is?
Well, I don't really think that's actually the church Jesus brought. So first of all, for we to even understand what the church is all about, let's go back and look at where the church started from and how it started, how they did church when they did church. I cannot remember the disciples when they started the church after the Holy Ghost came upon them, remaining in those 4 walls of the church and seeking for miracle, depending on God to provide their food and heal their sicknesses and all that. No, that was not what they were doing. They were going about reaching out and bringing solution to the problem of the society. That is what the church is meant for. The church is not some sort of miracle center. The church is supposed to be about relationship with God and transforming the society. The church is the light of the world. We are the salt of the earth. So we are supposed to be out there bringing solution and resolving the problems of the society, shining the light of Christ in the areas of darkness, not just sitting down in the 4 walls of the church and in the comforts of the building of the church, waiting on God of miracle to do miracle for you, and all of a sudden, resolve all your life problem and they will disappear into thin air. No, that is not what the church is all about. That is not what the church is about in the first place. We did not hear anywhere when Jesus was with the disciples that he was even ministering to the disciples or praying for them to be wealthy and all that. No. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and every other thing shall be added unto you. So why should we be looking for miracle in the first place? The Bible says miracles, those things, they are children's bread. So that can tell you the state of the church in Africa and Nigeria, to be specific. Most of those believers, even though they are bishops, they are children, because they are seeking for bread. They are not in understanding. They are seeking for bread. They are seeking for milk. They are not ready to eat the bones and meat. All right, so healing and all those miracles and everything is children's bread. It's supposed to even be for young believers and all that. It is not what mature believers to be depending on. You are supposed to be going out there, bringing the miracle and the light and solution to the turbulent situations of the society. We read in the New Testament, and the Bible says that wherever the Christians got to, wherever the disciples got to, they were saying that the people that turned the world upside down have come again. Why was that? Because they were carrying change with them wherever they went to, but we are no longer that effective in the body of Christ today. The church is even more like, the church doesn't have a voice anymore because there is no solution, to anything, basically. So I think to a big extent, we have lost the ideology of what the church is supposed to be, and we have to pick up, the church and do church the way Jesus would have done church. And we have to begin to correct all the things that have gone wrong with the church, because the state of the church now, I don't think Jesus will be proud of it. I don't even think Jesus will recognize his church, because as long as I'm concerned, the kind of churches we are having today is like some set of society, some sorts of gatherings, some set of clubs. I don't understand actually what is going on in the church. In the church, most of the churches today, let me use that word, most of the churches today. So it's pure religion. It's pure religion. That is what has taken over the place of the church.
Okay, Dr. Sufficient, your book, The Beauty of Challenges. Beauty.
Yeah.
To some people out there, they might be thinking that is the opposite. What do you call it? That is conflicting. That is so beauty. Beautiful in challenges.
All right, what is beautiful in challenges?
What can be beautiful in challenges?
Everything about challenges is beautiful. If you see it from the right perspective. Let's forget about the temporal pain it will cause on your body. But on the long run, if you are going to approach a challenge positively, it will leave you a better person. That is one thing I have discovered in my short period of existence in life. Like I said, I discussed with some people that were with me live on my first day of broadcast. Whatever I am today and whatever I'm going to be tomorrow, it stands to the challenges I had to endure in my life coming up. The tenacity to even pursue when all odds is against you, it stands to those challenges and the kind of radically helpless situations I had to grow up in as a child. That left me very strong and very independent. So it's more like I can say by the grace of God, in my life, it really doesn't matter what happened, but I'm not that kind of person that is going to bow down, to the difficulties of life or give up on life or throw in the towel. So what happens does not really matter to me anymore. It's what I do with what happens that matters. So, and that stands to the challenges I had to endure, and that has brought so much beauty to my life. Because if not for that training, I don't think I would have been able, to be who I am today or to be able to achieve what I'm going to achieve tomorrow. So that is why I said challenges are beautiful. So, for instance, I grew up in an environment that was very, let's say, down and out. Just take a look at a 9-year-old all by yourself in a city with your 2 younger siblings at 9, and you had to go to the market, like take care of the home, make food, breakfast, lunch, and dinner for your siblings, and go to school and organize a home like a woman. So I don't think that is what, even when I say that stories to people in the world today and all that, everybody might say, 9? That is not possible and all that. But why was that possible? It was thanks to what I had to go through. It was thanks to that early difficulty in childhood. It's all thanks to the hardship I had to endure. So before I was already at that age, I've already known what it means to handle life situations and to be independent. So that actually molded me and strengthened me in that direction. And I was ready to face everything life has to bring. But there are also other people that were more favored and didn't have to go through what I went through. Right? Life might be easier for such a person, but that person, let's say, weighing the both parties, when the real life situation, because life will always happens to these two sets of individuals, who is more likely to bow down to life or to give up or to be broken or to give up on life or to commit suicide and all that. It's not going to be the person that have learned to manage challenges. It's going to be the opposite. All right. So that is why, because in the first place, life itself is a challenge. Everything about life is a challenge. So if we don't begin to see the beauty in challenge, then we cannot see the beauty in life. That is how I understand it. Because if you want to ask me, why do I say life itself is a challenge? Let's start from the first day your mother took in, like the first day of your conception, from her first month to her first trimester, second trimester, and third trimester. No woman will tell you that the process of pregnancy is very easy and all rosy without any challenge and all that. No. Or are you going to tell me, is it the labor or delivery that is easy, or the raising of the kid from day one? So life itself is a challenge. So the earlier we begin to see and embrace it and see it as something beautiful, then that is not going to help us, because if we continue to see it as something negative, it's going to affect the way we think and the way we respond, and our creativity is going to be diminished. But when we see it as something that is positive, that can help catapult us to where we are going, going, then instead of giving up or feeling bad when we face a challenge, we are going to be thinking. Our analytical mind will come up to help us analyze and get a solution to that challenge we are having, knowing that and having at the back of our mind that when we overcome this challenge, then we are moving to the next phase of our life. So that is actually the beauty in challenge, because every challenge overcome catapults you to the next level of your life. It's like passing a test of when you pass a level in school, then you move to the other level. That is the way it is with challenges in life. When you overcome one challenge, then you move to a higher level of life that is not even without its own challenges. So when you overcome that, so that is what life is all about. So if we are not going to see challenges as beautiful, then as well we can say life also is not beautiful. But if we are going to learn to see challenges as beautiful, then life will be beautiful for us. That is why I said there is beauty in challenges.
Somebody is saying it is the title of the book that they saw that want to make them to go and get the book. But somebody is saying, I will get it maybe sometime later. What is the advantage of getting the book today? Can you explain that to people?
Okay. The advantage of getting the book today is, first of all, the book is on a promo. If you get the book today, you could get the book for as low as 0.99 cents, less than $1. And apart from getting it for less than $1, that's more like almost free. And apart from that, secondly, if you get the book today and leave a review today and rate the book, probably if you like the book, you read the book, which I know you're going to love the book, you stand a chance of winning. Participating in our contest to win our all new what do you call it again, all new Fire H8 tablets for Kindle readers. So yeah, that is actually the benefit of getting it today. So after today, by New York time, end of today, the price of the book will be increased. So getting it today, you get at a cheaper rate and you stand a chance of winning a prize for yourself. That's
so it. Today, what time New York time? 12 midnight New York time? Or what time?
Yeah, I think 12 midnight, okay. Thereabout.
End of the day New York time. So it's better for them to, as soon as we finish the program,
right,
to go out to order it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
And okay, now let's go back to your book. The Beauty of Challenges. The Beauty of Challenges. What prompted you to write it in the sense now? Why did you decide to write it now? I know you, and I know you have so many other topics you could have written about. Right. Why this topic now?
Why this topic now? Okay. Why this topic now? Because, all right, first of all, I just felt I wanted to use that. I actually wrote that. That was the last book I wrote as a single. I'm just publishing it now. So I wanted to use that to end my single phase of my life.
Because you had written other ones. Can you mention some other ones you had written before this?
Right. I wrote I've written several, but the only one that is published is single, Ministry and Sexual Purity. That's the only one published, but other ones are not published yet than this one. So why that now? Then secondly, apart from that, yeah, it's more like a lot of people, all right, especially ladies, they feel that marriage is more like, would I say, a succor, an escape route for deliverance, a ticket to success. Get a man, and a man that will take care of you, look for a rich man to marry, and because of that, they are not discovering their purpose, they are not fulfilling their purpose and all that. So I wanted to write this book and be able to document my life before there was a man involved in it. So it's so to dismantle or disbundle that kind of ideology that it is until, young women are married, that's when you can be fulfilled and all that. Then, thirdly, and the most important is the book is dedicated to the memory of my late mom. And I was actually doing it originally for her because I know what she had to suffer as a mother, how she stood by my dad, in all odds, and did her best to make sure we had the best she could offer at the level she could provide. She suffered and sacrificed everything. And unfortunately, she never lived to eat the fruit of her labor, which is the greatest pain I'm going to ever live with in my life. So yeah, the book is very dear to my heart because it's dedicated to her and to her memory.
Okay.
Right.
There are some other things people might want to know about you apart from the book. We started with the book,
Right.
and we have already spoken about the book. Today, I began to ask you about your experience here.
Right.
I think here we might be able to share it now that soon Dr. Sufficient will be leaving Ukraine because our husband is outside of Ukraine. Our husband is living in another continent, so she'll be leaving Europe to go and meet her husband. And but what will you say your time in Ukraine has given you, and especially because there are some people in Ukraine now
Right.
who are living in Ukraine, maybe thousands of students in Ukraine, and they have never even come across Pastor Sunday,
Right.
even living in Kiev. So it is one thing to be in Ukraine. So talk about that one, just being in Ukraine, or being in Ukraine and coming across Pastor Sunday. What is the difference between the two? And what will you say that experience? What will you say destiny, God has arranged for you through that experience?
Okay, first of all, I would say being in Ukraine, for me, I think it wasn't an accident. I believe it was not an accident. It was orchestrated by God, because my story of even coming to Ukraine is another story on its own. It's another, set of challenges and defeat over challenges. There's some kind of radical steps I had to take, different kinds of challenges surrounding my coming. All right, and I never even knew there was a country called Ukraine. There was never a plan of me studying in Ukraine. Where was that money going to come from and all that? As of when I left Nigeria, nobody from my family has ever traveled abroad before. I, as a person, I never even knew the capital of Nigeria. I've never been to Lagos, nowhere, not Abuja, not anywhere except Port Harcourt, which I only stayed for 2 years, and we couldn't cope. I had to go back to the village to continue in the village. So there was actually nothing connecting me to leaving the continent of Africa to Eastern Europe to study. All right, and it's not as if I went on scholarship or anything, so nothing connecting me down here. I knew I always wanted to study medicine, but that was going to be in Nigeria, which was even going to be a struggle for my parents to be able to pay the school fees then in Nigeria, not to talk of coming to Europe. But I believe God actually planned my path, because if I have, though I didn't succeed in getting admission into medicine in Nigeria, I already told you the story about how I had to struggle several times writing the JAM exams, and it was just a very near success syndrome. I couldn't just get into the medical school in Nigeria. But looking back at that now, I am very thankful, because if I have, at that early age, I finished high school at a very early age, 15 going on 16. So if I have gotten to medical school at that time, only God knows what my life would have been of. I would have been lost in the medical world, probably just, being in the four walls of the hospital, if I successfully finish, and that is what my life will be all about, working for the Uncle Sam system, because that is actually what is obtainable in the system I was in, study medicine, go work as a doctor, and that's that, all right? And from time, though I always knew I had something more than that medicine. I knew I was called, but I never loved the ministry, which is another story for another day. Because of what I had to pass through with my parents being ministered, I felt ministry was something for the poor, and I didn't want to be poor. So I didn't want to have anything to do with ministry. But coming to Ukraine was another groundbreaking. I believe God orchestrated my steps. And Ukraine specifically, and not any other country, because I won't have been able to get what I have gotten or achieve what I have achieved today if I have gone to America, or if I was in Britain, or if I was in Philippines. Coming to Ukraine was one thing, but meeting you was another thing on a total different level. All right, and I got to Ukraine. According to my understanding, to my level, I was doing well. Because of the gifts and talents I thought I had, and my tenacity to work hard. So I thought I was good, at least. I was a local champion where I was coming from. So when you are where you're always celebrated, you think you have it all together until you get to a point that what you think you know is being shaken. So that was actually how it was. I got to Ukraine. Ukraine was not really what I was expecting when I arrived Ukraine. I was a bit disappointed and discouraged because what I thought I was going to see was not what I saw. Everything around me was totally different from what I was expecting, in quotes. Then plus the fact of not speaking English, different kind, the country not speaking English, the challenge of starting to study language, you cannot communicate, you can't even buy in the market, nothing. That was a total different ballgame altogether. We were not prepared for that. We weren't expecting to meet that. We actually thought we were going overseas and we were going to be speaking English. So that was one. And when I got to Ukraine, I won't be able to narrate all the stories of my coming and all that. I actually started a ministry in Ukraine, and we were doing well, and to some extent I was fulfilled in my level of understanding as per success in quotes, and I was being celebrated because of what I was able to do at that time until I met you. So meeting you, before I left Nigeria, I really never knew about you. I didn't know about you before I left Nigeria, but I believe destiny actually orchestrated my being in Ukraine.
No, don't talk to me as if you are talking to me. Talk to me as a third person. I don't know pastors. I didn't know Pastor Sunday.
All right. Yeah.
So you're talking to them.
Yeah. So I didn't know Pastor Sunday before coming to the Ukraine, and so on getting to Ukraine, I think that was after my second year. All right, my second year, third year. We had a program that I attended, and that was how, I think your anniversary, church anniversary, that was the time I met you the first time. And when I met you the very first time, something was striking out. I was looking at the large congregation of all Europeans and all that, and the way you welcomed us, the way you took care of us, we were just common students, we were not member of your church, and you created that time, it was your anniversary to see us. I think we came there, if I can remember vividly, was it with Dr. Abakicha and other students and everything, and you made that time to come talk with us, ask them to serve us food and everything, laughed and all that. Your humility and all that was just down to it. So after then, they organized an HMT. I think that was 2010, if not 11. So I attended the HMT, and you were asking people to introduce themselves, and they were introducing themselves and giving a brief intro of what they were doing. And when it got to my turn, I introduced myself and gave a brief intro of what I was doing, and that was it, you know. Pastor started saying, wow, I cannot believe it's a young lady in Ukraine doing this kind of thing, a woman and all that, and you gave me an opportunity that anytime if I want to learn or during my vacations, I could come around here to have my vacations here. And that was a big one because as up until then, I've always done my vacations by myself because I couldn't afford to go home when other students were going home for their vacations because of still lack of finance. So that was the beginning of it for me. And
but even then, though, there were so of you who were there. So many students were there at that time from abroad, and some students were here. And everybody had the same opportunity. You know, I'm always free. I always ask people and give people the liberty to come. Even you too. Even though you are, that's what I think. I think you people are impacted. First of all, there are two stages. When you met me first, I was wondering, why didn't you draw close after the first time? Not just you and other students too, people, but then after the HMT you got to know more. But still then not too close. Then later on after coming to stay the first time, second time, coming and going, but still not. Why is it that it was not immediately striking that this was something different from every other thing? That why is because so many students are still struggling with that up till now. They still live in Ukraine and they still don't know You know, you understand? They are losing the opportunity. They are losing the chance. It could have just passed you by.
Right. It's not that it was not striking. It's not that we did not see a difference. Or let me not use the word we. It's not that I did not see a difference. Let me speak from my perspective now. But from where we were coming from, pastors, especially big-time pastors, don't relate with their members on that level. You know, I particularly was taught something about not being too close to the anointing, so you don't get familiar with the anointing, that you become familiar, and if you get familiar with the anointing, you will not get blessed, and different kinds of cliches that you should always give space between your relationship and that of your pastor, so you don't get familiar with the anointing. I think that was the word. So we had all that in mind. Even though my dad was a pastor, my parents were ministers, and I knew my relationship with my dad is because he's my dad and all that. So that has always been something in mind. I think that's what most of the students are struggling with, and people will find it very difficult to believe that a general overseer and a big pastor as such will be able to open arms to really welcome them because of what they have known in quotes or have experienced, or the standard or what is common. All right, so I don't really think I've met any other person like you. Let me use that word when it comes to that. So that was actually the reason. So for some reasons, I didn't want to look like you're misusing the opportunity. You just wanted to act with the way I was acting. Is more like the way of honor, to make sure you're keeping the boundaries, and you know, you're honoring the anointing, and so you don't get familiar with the anointing in order for you to be able to be blessed. So,
but what would you miss? What were you missing that period of time if you had come closer? Because it was easy.
I think what was actually missing, which a lot of people are still missing it, is one thing to be taught. It's one thing to hear teachings. It's one thing to listen to messages. It's another thing to observe the practicality of it. And that is actually what has brought a radical change to my life. People learn differently. And I believe what you see and you continually see and you practice and you work with will leave an indelible mark on you. You'll be able to reproduce it faster than what you just read. And it's not practical. You're not practicing it, you're not working with it, it's not being put into work in your life. So not getting close, that's actually the disadvantage, because a lot of people just know, oh, Pastor Sunday as, you know, the big pastor, the pastor of the biggest church in Europe, and that's all there is about it. But they really do not know the person, they really do not know the principle behind the greatness. They really do not have the understanding of the workability, and they really do not know your in-depth. They might listen to your message and they think they have heard you, but when it's time to reproduce it, that is when they know they actually have not known. So that is where the missing out is going to be for not coming close. Coming close has helped me to not just hear a sermon, but to see what is being taught, being practiced, and to be able to practice and see those things work. And not just that, coming close, you have put me under so much pressure that I do not have any choice but to be better, to work on myself daily. So that is actually what was missing out, that opportunity to be trained. So there are two different things: undergoing training and listening to sermon. They are different things.
Now the other thing, one time I also asked you this question was, after the HMT, why did you get lost? Why are you not following? So I think one of the times that you answered was that you are listening, but I noticed, and you are visiting.
Right.
But then I noticed that, you know, you had a certain, you know, experience, crisis a little bit, and you had long fast.
Right.
And during the long fast, you made a decision. So you told me that it was during that, when you were listening, I think you were listening every day, or you were listening to many messages or something, my message, or
right.
as many as possible. So that was what really made you to know that this is a different gospel. Mm-hmm. You know, something like that you were
What actually happened is, even though I was listening to the message every day, and
Because this might be what other people are experiencing even now.
yeah, even though I was listening to the messages, I already knew it was a different gospel, but still I was not going to come close because of the ideologies I've heard. During that fast you're talking of, I think I had a 30 days fast then, and that was towards when I was rounding up. I think it was my 5th year in medical school. I was going to be rounding up school. So, and I was praying and asking for God's direction. I just finished 4th year, going on 5th year. After school, what next and everything, what I was going to be doing and all that. So during that fast, while I was praying, God actually told me to go to Kiev and be trained by Pastor Sunday. So when God told me that, I never knew, I never had any plan that I was going to stay in Ukraine. Even 3 months after my graduation, there was nothing I wanted to do in Ukraine. Ukraine was the last place I wanted to be. So I already made my plans of, I gained admission where I was going to go for my specialization. Why? Because I wanted to finish school, and everybody's looking up to you from home, so I should be working and at least be where I can be working and making money. And Ukraine was definitely not that place, because first of all, you do not have the ability to work in Ukraine as a student. And even if you're even going to be able to work, let's even say you have the opportunity to work, what they are paying doctors are peanuts. It's bad. The pay level is very low. Some doctors earn as low as $300 in the Ukraine, and that is not what I was going to be cut out for, because I finished school now. I wanted to make life better for me and for my family after a long period of struggling and everything. So I already made plans for myself, to leave the Ukraine the moment I'm graduating. I didn't want to have anything to do with the Ukraine. So in that prayer, God asked me to go to Pastor Sunday and be trained. I heard that very well. But what I was thinking was, that was when I started coming, during holidays. Maybe they give a break or women holiday, or we coming here. So my idea of coming to be trained by you was using those vacations to spend it here. And that was the training I was thinking God was talking about. So when that finished, I remember when I was making my plans to leave the Ukraine and all that and everything, and even when you told me not to move and everything and all that, I was bent on going, and you said, okay, and that I should go ahead and do it. That's what I want to do. And I went for the visa. I didn't get the visa.
That which was also one of the biggest challenges of your life.
Yeah. So
disappointment, frustration.
Yeah, it was from one disappointment.
But now the beauty is,
I thank God every day on my life. Every day I wake up, I thank God that I didn't get that visa to leave the Ukraine.
But the thing is that you had the qualification. You wanted to move to Germany, if you can say that.
Yeah.
And you had the communication. You had the admission.
Yeah.
You had been admitted by the school. The school had admitted you. You are ready to go. Even there were 2 girls. Yeah. You and one of your assistants.
Yeah.
And that your assistant, who was your classmate also, got the visa and left.
Right.
But you, who was the one who brought her here.
I did not get it.
He's the one who...
Yeah, it in fact, it
and
was...
you were thinking that everything was against you. I said, why is that? This is the way things always happen for you. You are telling me that it is always when it gets to your turn. You were telling me things like that.
Right.
So you were asking me some questions about
I was just devastated, Pastor, I've struggled a lot in my life. Like, I never get anything easily. All right, I'm not that child that I ever got anything on a platter of gold. I had to work hard for everything I got. So I was thinking, okay, medical school is over, and according to the information I got then, which were not totally the truth, moving to Germany was more like a breath of fresh air and a fresh hope. At least I could be working and make any money, good money, and could help myself and help people at home. As a matter of fact, for the most part of my school, I saw my way through school. And I had a ministry I was running with 3 branches of church, and I wasn't working, all right? So though I was doing different things on the side to get money, but that was not the kind of life I wanted to live. I wanted to be able to fend for myself and to fend for my family. But now, after telling my parents, even to raise the money to even get, to deposit in the fixed deposit of the account for me to be able to go was even a problem. After running around and telling my parents and all that, and somehow we were able to raise the money, borrow some part to return after I got the visa, and there was no visa to move.
And the money has been borrowed.
Yeah, everything. That was more like, what am I going back to go tell them and everything? And at the same point in time, I was having some serious health issues then. So everything was just happening at the same time. It was
I just lost your mom.
I just lost my mom.
That same year.
The same year. So, and the situation of the health I was having was a kind of death-threatening situation according to the analysis. Life-threatening situation according to the analysis the doctors gave then. And here I was without having a really stable source of income, concrete source of income, according to, the way I wanted to be earning money. And, I'm still struggling to recover from the death of my mom. I just came back from burying her. And I know how things were at home when I came back. And then this. So it was just too much for me to handle. I was just devastated and everything. And I really wept and all that. But that's actually part of the reason, for this book. But at the end of the day, I discovered that it was God.
You are the only one left behind.
It was actually God that was doing that. God actually had to.
But I told you that you don't.
You told me not to go.
That if God told you to come and learn from us, so they just sit behind here and be learning.
Yeah, but I've gone too far to come back, and plus somehow I'm stubborn.
Because you are used to attaining your goal.
Yeah, so I don't really like to, give up on something or go back on what I've set my mind to doing. And that's one thing I've discovered with you. After then, I've learned my lessons. You don't force. You won't even say God said. You will just say it as a suggestion. It's left for the people that have ears to hear. So you just say it as pastor. You say, is that what you want to do? I say, yeah, pastor, that is what I want to do. Okay, no problem. So when I went, I came back and they didn't give me the visa. I told them they didn't give me the visa. I said, okay, go and apply now. he said, go and apply. And I said, Pastor, I'm not going there again and everything. You now posted into labs. I said, I thought I told you. You want to apply? Go and reapply. So, yeah, I learned my lesson in a very hard way, but that is actually the greatest. I actually thought I knew your teaching. I thought I knew you. Within those periods I was visiting, I actually thought I've gotten the message. And that is the greatest mistake that would have happened to my life. I would have gone out of Ukraine thinking I know, without knowing I know nothing. I've not, caught your understanding. I've not caught your spirit. I've not been trained. And that is actually what God told me, to go and be trained. But I was just overwhelmed by, the expectations on me as a person, what I want to do, how to make ends meet at that moment and everything. My mates are graduating. Some are doing their specialization. Some are working. They are going back to Nigeria to write exams. What will I be doing in Ukraine, sitting down in Ukraine, a medical doctor with my certificate? Just working with Pastor Sunday? How? That was the thoughts that were running through my mind. But when God actually left me in that cage, and I'm so grateful for that closed door. Most times we see the same thing I'm saying, closed doors, as if they are actually the end of the road, not knowing is a way of God building us. And not only that, I was trained. Financially, I became equipped. I don't think there is any of my mates that were graduated together that is worth how much I am worth today, and that is thanks to you. Different opportunities came up, entrepreneurship and all that, and understanding, what I got. My 6 years of medical school could not.
Even the other girlfriend of yours that were here together, that you were supposed to go over there together,
right,
and you are supposed to go, even borrow money to go,
right,
and that person fell into a lot of disappointment, because the things
information they gave us were not right.
And she is still struggling financially like crazy. And she was even saying, why did I leave, self? I would have stayed with you, sufficient. She was even writing to me and saying, why did I go leave Ukraine? No? And it was the dream to leave Ukraine.
Yeah.
And now she was saying, why did I leave Ukraine? Why did she said, even we thought Ukraine was bad. He said, this country, Germany, is the worst country in my life. This is my worst experience that I've never had difficulty in my life.
Yeah.
And we were thinking that it was a disappointment.
Yes, actually. So that is actually what I'm talking about. The challenges of life, the beauty in the challenges of life. So because then I was more like a skeleton of myself. I didn't know the way forward. I was just imagining myself because, Pastor, you don't understand. I didn't plan to stay in Ukraine. Anything 3 months after my graduation, I wanted to leave Ukraine by all means. And there was no other reason than I want to start making money, all right? Because I've seen poverty. Yeah, I've seen poverty. I've seen suffering. And I was thinking, I'm going to be like the light to my family to help, pull them out and to assist in one way or the other. I could not imagine myself with the kind of person I am. I'm a go-getter. Finishing school, then sitting back and not doing anything, concretely or just doing many things to make money. It was just out of it. So
and not even practicing.
Yeah, and not even practicing. And even after I heard God, I felt, okay, I've been coming during the holidays, I've been trained, so I could give my excuse. Yeah, I heard God. God said, go and be trained. But as long as I'm concerned, those holidays I was coming, I was trained. But the truth was that those holidays I was coming, you really never gave me any responsibility.
I was just laughing with you people now.
Yeah.
But I told you,
yeah.
to explain to them the work we're trying to talk about.
Right.
Because
so
many of the people here
you never gave me any responsibility.
Not just you, other people.
Yeah, but I'm talking of my experience now. You never gave me any tasks to do.
And explain my philosophy, why that? Why is it that I don't, I'm sorry for pointing at you, but even people who might be leaving my house here, I will not touch them.
Right.
People might be living in Ukraine, I will not touch them.
Yeah.
So
we just come and you laugh, make us feel good. I'm like, so you were like that. You do not give anything to anybody that is not hungry. That until someone is hungry, they will not receive it. They will not know the value of it. I remember sometimes then when I will come and I will ask you some questions, you won't even answer it. You'll just be like, you are not ready. I'm like, Pastor, but I need an answer. That is why I asked the question. So what will you do with the answer after I've answered you? Just talk of the mouth, another topic for discussion.
Yeah, I'm for preaching.
And for sermon, revelation and rhema. And you just wave it and you laugh, give high five, treat us well, make sure we feel good, and you don't want to offend us and everything. And I saw that trend. To some extent, I knew what I wanted. I wanted to be trained, and I knew that way was not the way I was going to get it. But at some point, I felt, okay, maybe that is not going to be possible to get what I want. Then I'm going to fall back onto your tapes and be coming around, probably attend the program, attend HMT. And as a matter of fact, after HMT, I actually thought I've gotten it and I've gotten the training God was talking of. But right now, after spending this year here, I have discovered that this is actually why God asked me to stay behind, because as of that time, if I've left Ukraine, I have not gotten 5% of what God
just
wanted me to
you have
get.
never met Pastor Sunday.
Right. So a lot of people actually thought they think they know you because they met you 1 or 2 times and you laugh with them, you gist with them, you celebrate them, make them feel good. So they, Pastor Sunday is my friend, but they don't know you have much more to offer. And most people that are even around you don't even know that because they are not hungry to know, and you are not going to pursue them with it until they begin to chase you. But that changed after I was confined to here. Even at that, when I did not leave, you still did not bother me either. You were not giving me any responsibility and all that. Though I was in the house here, I could stay for 1 week without seeing you. You will not say anything and all that. And it's like, you decided to come today. You're welcome. Oh, you left your room today. And
There are still some people in this house now that I don't even see that they exist.
So,
I talk less of them in my house.
So that was what happened, and the same instinct in me of going for what you want kicked up, and I started pursuing. And I remember I will ask you for a tax. You say, in fact, you cannot work with me. Working with you is headache, different kind of things and all that.
You didn't know enough of things.
So I'm
Tell them now that you didn't know you were not prepared. You didn't know enough.
I thought I knew. So that's the greatest, would I say revelation? That was the greatest breaking of my ego. All right, because I thought I was good. I thought I knew to some extent, because I've been celebrated all my life, at least people appreciate me for what I do, because in quotes, I was the best among my clique when it comes to not necessarily, not education now, but life issues, handling issues, goal orientation and all that and everything, being focused, discipline, and all those things.
But when you came around and you said I should begin to work with you and monitor you and coach you. But what did I say? Because we spoke about it earlier, but most of these people are not there. I said, you people, it's like, where are you people coming from? The word I used, I was saying that you people are just like, there is field. You could have a field.
Right.
But I now discovered that it's not only you people like that. I just discovered everybody, almost from Africa, like that. It's just like saying, there are some accidental grass.
Right.
You have wheat,
yeah.
and then you have, what was the thing Jesus said, go and remove? Wheat.
Yeah, it's
Wheat.
Yeah.
Okay. You have the wheat, which is the good thing that were planted. But wheat just grow anywhere they want, by the roadside or by the something, just by accident. Not planted, not, just things that, just grass, just, I thought that, did you went to school now? Are you not from, it means, you went to university here. Did you finish primary school, secondary school? Were you taught, you finish university now? What? Because for me, it was like a crisis working with any of, not just you, but any of you people that time, because maybe what you said in the evening, maybe because of the height I was coming from.
Yeah, you were.
You didn't understand what I was trying. You were always angry at the first.
Yeah,
at first.
you were at a very higher level from us. Now, it wasn't about academic intelligence. It was about self-development, capacity building, and understanding of life. Right? You have so developed yourself. I don't really think there's anybody that will even work with you and wouldn't have issues. Let's even come from that angle. Yeah. All right. So except those who don't know you or the people you want to make them feel good.
Yes.
Those are the people, and just laugh with them. But anyone that is really going to work with you, even if they are specialists,
not going to talk to me.
Anyone that's going to be working with Pastor Sunday, even though they are specialists, they will begin to have issues. We will even begin to teach them in their own field and all that. So I have seen that with a lot of professionals and those who have been professionals in their field for maybe like 30 years, 20 years and all that. Within this period, I have seen that happen, and I now understand why is that.
Talk less of you are just university.
I've not even had experience and everything. So you said that, and usually a normal person will give up and all that, even though it was painful at the time, but I had a goal. I said to myself, I will so work on myself to the point that he's going to work with me. I didn't tell you that, but that was what I told myself. Whatever I need to do, I'm going to do it. I'm going to work on it. And the number one thing was availability, being available, which I feel was the first step. Being available, being there, being ready, being hungry. I felt that was the first step. So I remember one day that, you said something that broke me so much. I was so upset, and I went in to myself for weeks. I don't even know what you said. I think you said, how did you even finish medical school? I don't even know what you said.
Even secondary school said.
You said, did you even go to school?
Yes.
And you said that we were among people, some group of people and everything. I said, did he just say that? I was saying that in my mind. So because of that, I just kept quiet. I didn't say anything. I wasn't contributing. I wasn't answering any question. I just kept quiet, and I got to my room and everything, and the Holy Spirit spoke to me and said, do you want pleasure or you want to be transformed? So I said, I want to be transformed. He said, okay, then get off yourself and go for it. So that was how everything started, and I know sometimes when we started, you make me work on one particular project, sometimes 4 times, 5 times, obviously, go again, and they say, if that thing you say you're finished now, if I check it, I will see a mistake. I said, Pastor, I'm done. You bring it. Said, from this first line, I'm already seeing a mistake. So, it wasn't easy. You keep repeating tasks and repeating tasks and everything, going over it again. I remember the first book I had to edit for you. I remember how many times I had to go over it. But one thing was that I never gave up, the stamina to keep pushing forward, irrespective of the pain and what the demands and everything, irrespective of, not really having a time schedule you could call your own anymore and all that.
Almost 24 hours work.
Yes, so that was actually the way it was, and gradually, I'm not there yet, but I'm way far from where I used to be. And it's been a pleasure, a wonderful pleasure, Pastor, working with you. It's been a source of transformation, and I just feel I'm ready for life. I'm ready for my word. I believe God actually used you and Ukraine to prepare me for the destiny ahead. And I wouldn't have exchanged this experience even with $1 million. Someone say, okay, don't have this experience and let me give you $1 million. I won't exchange it with it. There is no amount of money, no degree that can provide for me what I've gotten here. Not only that I have built capacity in myself or expanded myself, but another thing it has done for me is I think more analytically now. I'm not superficial and deep. I remember when we started first, you complain about everything. There is nothing I do you don't complain about, and that was frustrating. Because and you like you're not here and now, and you keep catching me on that. Maybe we're working and everything. Say, okay, she has traveled, and I don't even understand how he gets to know the moment I'm distracted or I think of something else. So the moment I'm distracted, be like, you think sufficient is here, she has traveled. What did I say just now and everything you said? Okay, so you are just saying what I said. You got what I said, but what does that mean? And at the end of the day, I won't really get what you mean. I just repeated your word. So it simply means you were right, my mind was not there. So my focus has totally increased. My capacity to focus, to be here and now has totally increased. And
to control your life, to control
your
life around you.
And everything. I could remember I think a day I was we were walking, so I got up to take something and I hit a chair. I didn't even know, you've been observing that and all that. And, instead of it to say sorry, say, you see, that is one thing I have to teach you in life. Have you observed that most times when you move, you hit things all around? That is because the moment you're going somewhere, you just concentrate. You're one directional. Your environment, you're not aware of your environment anymore. That thing that you think is just happening on the physical is actually happening to you as a person. You just set your eyes, maybe you set your eyes on only this bottle. You're ignorant. In fact, you're lost to your environment. You don't know, you're not awake to the happenings in your environment. And when I looked at that, I saw that was also true. So
no, and then things will not work out in life. Things will be tough, and accidents will be happening, and unfortunate misfortunes will be happening. And you'll be thinking that why is God, or is Satan, or it is demons, or is the enemy, or I'm ill luck, or I'm not lucky. Because things will just be going, falling down, up and down, and you would not know the explanation for it. But it's just because you had not put your environment under the power of your control.
Right.
And you confirm that.
Right. So, one thing I did was, there is no one thing you have ever complained about to me, or corrected that I never went back to work on. I wouldn't say it, but I will go back to work on it. I'll work on it, and I test myself. If I need to get books to read, I get it. If I need to get audios to read, to listen to, I do. So whatever you complain about, whatever you pointed out, I start working on. and
and self-development became part of your life here.
Yes.
So
yes.
at a point, it's not just about me telling you to do anything at all.
It's
We
a
didn't
lifestyle.
need to meet anymore.
Yeah.
It's you now started developing yourself to a
Yeah.
new height.
Yeah. So thanks to you, Pastor. So financial wise developed.
Yeah, we started that by saying, what about, how can you say you know me, you have not read this my book?
Yeah, money will make you rich.
Tell them how we started with your financial breakthrough too.
Yeah.
That book. I said, because even though I could help you get financial breakthrough, but I will not.
You said so. And I was like, Pastor, why? Because by this time I think I was already working with you around 3 months or so. I'm like, Pastor, why? Why would you say that? Because I know you've made I think you've raised millionaires in your church. Within 3 years you raised 200 millionaires, if I'm correct. I'm like, why? And everything said, even if I should give you that money, it will disappear because you do not. Let's start by reading this book. Until you know the principles of money, you've not started. So that was actually what started. And
But what is the significance of that to people? People in Nigeria also think, I said money is not the problem. And that even your relatives and your family, I said money is not the problem. That this is the problem. Go and do not just read it one time. Go and read it and then let's talk.
Yeah.
And then you discover that. Tell them what that means.
The truth is that really it's not money that makes someone rich. All right. It's one thing to make money. It's one thing to have money. It's another thing to know the principles of money and be able to manage money and put money into use. Into the rightful use.
But people in Nigeria will say, no, it's just because I don't have money, that's my problem.
No. What is your problem is that you don't have knowledge. Money is not the problem. It's the lack of knowledge that is the problem. Where there is knowledge, money will follow suit because you're going to know what to do to get the money.
I remember what you said when you came back after that. You said, Pastor, I've been here in this house and I've been seeing this, but I've been hearing about it. Why did you tell me that this is
Yeah, actually, the principles in that book was just, it was out of the world. I was like, where have I been all this, this years? Somehow, I know I read a lot, but I don't even know why. Up until then, I've not read Money Won't Make You Rich.
No, but you read the Kiyosaki book, but you didn't?
No, I actually read Cash Flow Quadrants.
Yeah.
I've read different books on finance and everything, but just knowledge, right? But the practicality of Money Won't Make You Rich was just outstanding. Why? Financial books and everything, maybe think like a bit to the principle. After I've read it before. After reading Money Won't Make You Rich, that was when I read the book again and I now understood it. So Money Won't Make You Rich is actually, we could say it's a book, financial breakthrough for beginners. It helps you build, it lays the foundation and helps you build from the grassroots. So there is no one person in life that will say they cannot be rich if they are going to follow the principles in that book. Even if it's a taxi driver, motorcycle, that is how low the book got to and dissected what you could do and how you could do it, the saving, the investment and everything. So it was very practical and tangible. And I began to discover that though I'm saying I don't have money, if I begin to calculate the number of money I have spent as a student, during my 6 years in school, if I've known those principles and I was practicing it, I will graduate not in need of money and everything, but because I didn't have that knowledge, that was what happened. All right, I was finishing, looking for a way to jump into the Uncle Sam system, just to keep rotating the circle. And I think that is actually what God was pulling me from, because if I have jumped, let's even say Germany was all rosy, like I thought, and I entered into the workforce system, I will keep rotating and I won't be able to fulfill purpose. I won't be able to do what God wants me to do and everything. Even though I knew what I was supposed to do and what God called me to do, it was until I was here that I was able to put all those pieces together and draw a structure on a larger scale, what I wanted to do. That is because you forced me to do it. I always had ideas in my head, what I want to do. I want to do this, and I want to do that one and everything. You said, no, go concretely. Do what you have to do. And I had to go on my solitude and everything, spend time with God, and I was able to structure what I'm going to be doing 10 to 20 years of my life already set and ready, and that is thanks to you and thanks to that 1 year. So tell me, how much would someone have paid me that will quantify that kind of knowledge and that revelation of myself? How much will you give me that will quantify with living and fulfilling purpose, living and knowing that you are not living a wasted life, but you are investing your life? So yeah, I don't even know where to start from. It's actually an all-round transformation.
Even though you have just been married since April,
right?
But I know that you have also been able to share a lot of these principles with your husband.
Right.
And your husband is a different man. He even wrote me one day,
right.
and he was telling me of all the changes that have happening in his life. Tell us about your husband and all the changes that has happened in his own life also. Not just because he knew you, but because he knew you before then too. But since you were married, since he started, though he's living in another country, but he's following all the principles, he's trying his best, tell us about your husband.
Well, it's really been a great transformation. And within the short period we got married, to the glory of God, my husband's income has multiplied by 3. Not because
he was working harder.
not because he was working harder, or because he was doing something extraordinary other than the gifts and what he was doing, but because of the knowledge he has gotten and your teachings that he began to follow and everything. So yeah, I think in different levels, I will rather let me leave that to him to do. Maybe someday we'll do a video.
Not just the financial aspect. I'm just in general.
Generally, as a person. So yeah, it's really been a transformation for him, from his discussion with me, his perspective about life, understanding about life and everything. Pastor, this kind of teachings is not gotten everywhere in churches. It's not what we get in the commonplace everywhere in church. Very few people have these truths. Even those who are ministers and bishops that we even look up to, some of them don't know this. They don't have this in depth. So that is actually the problem. I think the message needs to be out more and people need to know.
Yeah, but tell them about the fact that your husband now, even though the time difference is very tough, and it's not easy for him, that he has become his priority. It's almost, even though it's working and time different and everything, but he's so much on the teaching. The price he's paying.
Right.
In that sense.
Yeah, I think the thing is, what he does is he tries as much as possible to listen to it, and anyone he misses, he listens to it in the morning before he steps out of the house and everything. He always goes back if he misses anyone while he's at work, and he stays up late at night most times listening to it. Sometimes we'll have to be on phone together so he doesn't slip off while the broadcast is going on, and different things he had to, sacrifices he had to pay, because I believe he has seen the benefit of that to his life. And
he even changed his lifestyle, right? Instead of going to just work like normal people in that country, he's getting out of the Uncle Sam system. He's a happy man.
Yeah,
and his lifestyle is changed. He's more confident also. Even though he's not here with me in Ukraine, what I'm just trying to say is that the principle, if somebody can, pay the price,
right,
through you. It's just through you,
right.
But he's very, thank God that he's so willing to practice the thing, to do the things, but in another country,
right?
And so the country doesn't really matter. It's not the country
no. It's the discipline and the willingness to pay the price and to practice it. It's not all about hearing or listening to the messages, but being able to practice what you're hearing and putting it to work. That's actually where the challenge is, and it's a challenge for most people because there is no one they are accountable to, or someone that will actually call them to account if they are not really practicing what they've studied. But if, let's say, partners are on the platform watching and each of them could, hold each other accountable to the teaching to make sure they are both practicing, working as a team, I think that will really help. Yeah.
Dr. Sufficient, of course, the time is, we have spent 1.5 hours, but even more, I think. Let me see.
Yes.
Yeah, we have spent 1 hour more. And but I want you to tell people about your book and your book launch, and when is the time for them, the best time for people to get it. And is it a physical one they have to download, or the electronic one? Explain all those things to us.
Yeah, the book
The beauty of
it's the Kindle version, the soft copy they have to get for now. And the best time to get it is actually from now to the end of today. That's New York time. And and to help leave a review. If you like the book, you read the book, which I know you're gonna love it, because
even if they read the comments, something is already enough to do.
The description of the book. And for those who have been following on my Facebook to see the excerpt from the book I've been posting, it's enough to know what the book is all about and to leave a review. Yeah, so that's basically it. And I think after tomorrow we are going to be I will be doing a live video maybe on Monday or Tuesday. Within the 2 days, I'll let us know of the person that is going to be the winner. We'll do it live, of the all new Fire H8 tablet.
So no, I know you are already a bestseller of today already. You already done so much work that your book is already on the bestseller list.
Yeah.
The bestseller list is the top 100 really.
Right.
But you are already what number?
Number 3.
So you are not just in the top 10, but number 3 bestseller list on Amazon.
Right.
And so will you, tell them what is the advantage, because you didn't mention the price now, but people who are just coming in.
Okay.
What's the advantage if they get it before tonight runs out? How much will it be?
Okay, presently now is 0.99 cent. So
it's at a giveaway?
Yeah, it's actually at a giveaway price. It's more like at nothing, because the book is worth more than that, and it's a big book. It's not like it's a small book.
It's not a small book.
It's not a small book. It's a big book, even in volume, and a lot of materials and informations in there that will really bless your life. So I think it's a book you can even get as a gift for a loved ones. I think it's the best way to end the year. That's part of the reason why I decided to even launch it now, so people could actually prepare themselves to face 2017 in a more positive and active aspect or perspective or direction towards life. And I think it's actually my gift to my friends that have been following me on Facebook, and to the family we've got on your platform, Pastor. So so after tomorrow, then the price will be increased.
Okay, now, so some people are asking you, what part of Nigeria are you from? Because they said your name, Bien, sounds like a French name.
Yeah, it's actually a French name. And it's my surname, actually. It's not my name. My name is Sufficient. Bien is my father's name. So I'm from River State, Port Harcourt, Ogoni to be precise.
Ogoni. It's
That's
called Ogoni.
Yeah.
But most of us in Nigeria say Ogoni.
Ogoni. Yeah.
But it is Ogoni.
Yeah, Ogoni.
Do you know the meaning of Ogoni?
I don't know.
But Ogoni has a lot of tribes, a lot of pigmentation.
Right.
Which one is yours?
Mine is Gokana. I'm from Gokana.
So people from Gokana will know what Bien means?
Bien is a French word, Pastor.
Okay.
But from
then
what would be close?
Man get to get there.
That one is a long story, but the original name was at first my grandfather's name was Bien. Bien means long life, living long.
Okay.
But Bien means good. So after we grew up and everything, my dad actually, changed the Bien to Bien because he had a native name that meant good, Saleh, that meant good. And he grew up in Cameroon. So while he was in Cameroon and all that, so he actually, changed the version of the name from Bien to Bien. That was what happened.
But he speaks French?
No, but
not
he knows
really.
That
Bien is...
as of then, that was when he was a young man.
Okay.
Yeah, as of then he understood French and all that. He was in the French part of Cameroon. So yeah, that was what happened. But if you ask my dad, he's still gonna say.
Oh, I see your husband putting love here. Your husband day here.
That's my hero right there.
Yeah, your hero day here. He's putting love.
Yeah.
So they are also asking, is your calling not connected with your medicine profession that you studied?
Well, it has a segment with medicine. I'm going to have a lot to do with the medical sector in Nigeria. I have an angle of my ministry that is going to be addressing that, but I'm not the doctor that will be in the four walls of the hospital. Maybe just for a while, maybe get my license, practice for a while, but I'm not going to be, in the four walls of the hospital. I have a lot to do with the medical sector, for transformation of the medical sector, building hospitals and going on medical missions. But four walls of the hospital working for Uncle Sam, that is not my thing.
Another question is that there was a time you were doing reviews for me.
Right.
You and
Joshua
mostly.
Right.
And they were saying Pastor Sunday has reproduced himself with this girl. This is a woman, Pastor Sunday. Yeah, how will you explain that to people? Because they should know that it's not just because you are living in my house. Somebody could be living in my house and still not know, but it's hard work because you are taking all you just like they are being taught that you are listening to the same thing, you are working on yourself to make it part of your.
What has helped in
But they could do that too, wherever they are.
That's true. Anyway, Pastor, we don't really get to see every day except when we're working. Yes.
So you should explain that to them.
So the thing is practice, all right? And you don't just hear something once and it becomes part of you. I know a lot of people admired the reviews I did. I've seen some people that wrote me and said, that was a wonderful review. But that message, we all listened to it. But what happened was that after you preach that message, I will go over the message sometimes like 3, 4, 5 times if I'm going to do a review until the message becomes flesh. So when I'm coming to do the review, it's not going to be just like your own message anymore. That's because I've assimilated it. So that's what I do. So throughout the day, anytime I'm doing something that probably maybe I'm cooking or I'm doing anything in the house, I will just play the message. If it's not something that will demand me being quiet or being concentrated, any other thing I'm doing, walking and all that, the message will be playing. I'll be listening to it over and over and over again till I could almost get every sentence of the teaching and all that. And most times I sit down all the time of those reviews and write out specific points, and I'll go over it again and again until I know I have gotten this thing. So that's actually how I do it, and I don't stop at getting it. I begin to practice it. I put it to work, practice it in different ways that is applicable to me. In every message, I look for what is applicable to me in that message. How can this message make me better? What do I need to change according to this message? What am I not doing right? And that is the principle I use each time I'm listening to you. What is more like listening to you and making it like a mirror to me to see what I could change. So mirror, like listening to Pastor Sunday, listening to Pastor Sunday and making it like probably looking at the mirror to see what are the loopholes that I need to correct, in my life. So I don't just go to get knowledge that I will share with other people. I am getting knowledge to transform myself first of all before thinking of giving to anyone else, because I'm a strong believer in you cannot give what you do not have. Until it is yours, it is not yours. You don't have it. You can repeat the message, but if you've not become it, there is no result you're getting. So yeah, it takes hard work. And apart from that, I told us, even though I was here with Pastor, every day I made it a responsibility. That's before your live broadcast. It's your live broadcast that made me stop that routine now. But before the live broadcast, I make sure I listen to at least one of your messages every day. Then we only had audio, so it was like I finished almost your 400 audio messages that was on your blog then and everything. So among those audios, I picked the ones that were really addressing the areas I was looking to develop in, and most of those ones I go over it again. So every morning when I finish, during my period of exercise, because I exercise every morning, I'll play the message will be playing while I'm doing my exercise. Probably sometimes I'll put it on speaker in such a way I could be hearing it even when I'm dressing up and bathing and all that. So I maximize my time. I'm able to achieve listening to those messages every day, and some of those
these are things they can also do.
Yeah. So some of those messages then were actually, some were up to 2 hours, some 1 hour, something and other. But I made sure and I kept to that goal and I kept doing it, and that was where the transformation came in. And I began to, I think I could say, I can tell the way you handle some topics. So Pastor Sunday will handle some topic. Let me use that word. I could tell what would be his ideology about it. That's because I've listened to him over and over again. I understand the principles of Pastor Sunday and the way he will address some particular topics and some particular issues. Yeah, that was how I went about it. It wasn't easy. It was challenging, but I had a goal. I was set for it, and I really wanted to. And apart from that, another thing I got introduced to was solitude. Solitude was another point of transformation, and that was thanks to you. I started practicing solitude just like you practice. So it was more like whatever I observed you're doing, I was going to practice it too, and work on it, and that has really been helpful. When I began to practice solitude, it actually brought me into a different dimension in my life. All right, and something really very dramatic happened after my first solitude. It's not as if I've not been fasting. I've been fasting before now. I go on different days fast, 30 days fast and all that. But all those, after my solitude, I discovered that was just, not really as effective as, being locked up from the world and, being in solitude. So I discovered that I could silence my mind, and I was getting so many information, so many downloads, and different things. And most times I hardly finish a solitude without getting several topics to write on, ideas to write on, articles, books and all that. So I have so many topics of books to write on already in the waiting and all that by God's grace I'm going to begin to work on them in different angles.
For example, for you, who Pastor Sunday became,
right,
is now you know the key, and you know that it is possible, because Pastor Sunday as well as he made himself. Yeah. So anybody can really create themselves and make themselves.
It's true.
Because you are
so the thing is, don't know at your level, Pastor.
Because I've been doing this for 20 years.
Yes.
But that's why. But you've just been doing it for a few years.
Right. So I cannot begin to tell the power of solitude. The power in solitude, I don't know, I don't know what I could quantify it with. The in-depth I begin to get during this period of solitude, I never knew I had such in-depth, and it's very easy to concentrate. It's very easy to touch God and to be able to bring out what is in you. All right, to bring out what is in you. Most of the things that I have been able to structure out for the next 10 to 20 years of my life were bettered out in solitude. Yeah. So there's a sense of direction, Pastor. It's more like you just, there might be challenges. It's not as if you're going to get it on the platter of gold, but at least there is an assurance, there is a certainty, the way you're going and everything. But before then, really, I had ideas of what I wanted to do, but there was no certainty. It was just hope. I want to do this, I want to do that, hoping and believing God that it will work. But there is a clarity, there is a certainty, and I'm eternally grateful to you, Pastor. I want to say thank you so much. The story of my life cannot be completed without the mention of your name. You've been a great influence. Your teaching is like no other. I don't even know where to start from. Is it the training? Is it the coaching? Is it the pastoral training, is it the mentorship, is it the fatherly care, you've been a great influence in my life. And I believe the only way I'm going to be able to say a word of gratitude to you is being able to extend the grace you have given to me to other people I'm going to meet in my life. And another thing is, one thing that really transformed my life is your love for people. Ever until I met you, I used to think I loved people. But after I met you, I went back to repent. I told you that before and everything. I thought I was humble till I met you. I remember from the first time I met you, I went back to repent and I was asking God for forgiveness, because your life was like a conviction to me that I was arrogant, because I have never seen someone at your caliber with such a spirit, with such humility and everything. So there are so many things that, even though from my observation, it's not necessarily what you sat me down and say, okay, this, that I have observed that has actually molded me to who I am now and who I'm going to become tomorrow. So yeah, we cannot really see the whole picture now until that tomorrow comes. Then definitely.
No, if I'm now working with you, before, if I said I cannot even work, no, forget about the working. If now,
maybe, Pastor, you should say a bit about the change. What do you think about the change, Joe?
If you are exemplifying, is it exemplifying my teachings now?
Right.
If people are now saying that you are like Pastor Sunday, woman Pastor Sunday, and that they are saying Pastor Sunday, that is a big distance of travel. That's like a big journey, a huge step forward. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable in everything. In depth of work, becoming you see, people think Christianity is about religious,
right.
And that is how I met you. You are a good Christian church girl.
Right.
You are a good religious person. But
right.
Going from that journey, from being a Christian like every other person,
yes.
to just being a friend of God, which
right.
is the ultimate.
Yes.
But some people never get there ever.
Right. Right.
So if that's what we want to talk about, so now it's impossible to hook you and to just tell you some things. You know what Christianity is all about, what walking with God is all about, what knowing God is all about, what being a friend of God, what being a Christian is all about. Rather than religious understanding,
right.
That most people don't even know.
Right.
Even most people who are listening to us now don't even have an idea of what we're talking about.
Right.
So for then, not to be looking up to man, to get answers in life, but to be able to know the strategy and the pathway to discover God, to find God, to walk with Him, to talk to Him, and get all your answers in life.
Right.
Rather than be looking off to somebody who will be talking to you, calling you, or telling you, do this or don't do that. Those are landmark or landslide that, everybody thinks it's a dream. Those are things that people think are only reserved to the GOs and the bishops and the only exclusive individuals in life.
Yeah.
And so then we'll go to the area of work.
Yeah.
If I didn't even want to talk to you people, I just like for a walk.
Right.
I just wanted to talk to you as friends,
right.
as Christians. Hello, how are you? Hi, you guys, you look great. Hi, you are beautiful. Hi, you are nice. Oh, good color. Oh, what a combination. Oh, wow. Ooh. because that is what you do with children. If you meet a little baby who is just 2 years old,
right.
or 3 years old, you will not begin to give them revelation.
Right.
You will not begin to give them wisdom. You will not begin to give them principles. You will not begin to give them, some heavy stuff. So, but I see a lot of people like that who are grown-ups, 50 years old, 60 years old, 70 years old, but I cannot talk to them. I can only say, hi, high five, hi, hello, hi. Ooh, you beautiful. That's what you do with kids. That's what you do with kids, because you just entertain them. And that's what some people want.
Actually.
They just want to come to me to take picture and to take selfie or shake my hand and say we have shaken his hand before. And that's what I give to them because that's what they need. So from that level to being a somebody that is now doing my work for me. Someone that I said like, you is hopeless. In fact, you know, there are some people that you thought you could teach.
Right.
But in your own cases, I would just say it's hopeless. It doesn't even, I shouldn't even try to teach you, but nothing to teach you. But the determination you had and say that, you know, even when you are paining, and you see that she's annoyed, she's angered, she's pained. This thing is paining her, what I'm doing to her. And, you know, that's because you submitted yourself. You said, anything it would take, just teach me, take me. And because I don't want to, until you say that, until you really submit like that, I don't want to touch you because, you know, I just want to love you. I don't want to give you pain. But you are willing to go through any process of pain, any difficulty. And because of that, I was telling you all painful things, things that will irritate you, things that will, I mean, and you know the way I treat women. I don't like to treat women, you know, rough. But since you want to become a human being, you want to really become a human, you know, it has, for me to do that, you really have to convince me that you really want to get this thing on.
Right.
So I'm going to do it. I'm going to train you in a way. I'm going to bend you, break you before people, so that you will die to that self-image or what people are thinking about me with shame or anything. You will go through the process of just so that until your vision becomes more important than what people will say, until your vision becomes more important than what people will think, until your vision will become more important than annoyance or anger or I don't like this or why did he say that, or until your vision will get more important than all the, you know, deceptions that will become take place. So that's why I would take people who are not willing to pay that price. I just allow them to be. They will be around me too. But I will not be saying anything. They will say, but all of you will be saying, Pastor, why are you not talking to this person? Why are you not correcting the person? But you see what he's doing wrong. Yes. But why don't you change the person? Why don't you correct the person? But the person will listen to you now. I say, okay. But you are the one person that were willing to overcome offense, to overcome anything you feel or you don't feel, or to just get to where you wanted to get to.
Right.
And those are things only few individuals are ready to pay this kind of price. I didn't even know you could write a letter. I was sure that for you to even write a letter for me, it would take you 10 years of preparation. That was my thinking.
Oh my God.
Because that was where you were in my own eyes. So. But now to be saying that I'm reading your book now, and this book that you have read, you have written. When I was reading it, I was it's not just the point, because now what you are hearing is the point she's making, and that the beauty of challenges and the testimonies and those are what you are hearing. But wait until you read it, the style, the construction of the words, the putting together of the words, you know, okay, just like somebody was calling me the other day, yesterday somebody called me, today somebody called me, every day somebody is calling me and saying, the way you write, Pastor, all these your articles, the way you write, we're just waiting for it, just to read, just to read, you just want to read, not even, it doesn't matter what topic, you just want to read, it's just like we are eating, as if we are eating something, it's better than just like enjoying the process. That is what I was feeling now that she's writing. I was reading through her book. Someone that I told the ordinary letter, she would not even be able to write. And another problem was what she mentioned already, because for me, I know that one of the greatest secrets of success in life is the ability to focus and concentration. But more important than that, because you can concentrate when you need to, but that is different. But you are only alive for the amount of time that you are presently conscious. So only as much as you are doing something consciously, at that moment when you are conscious of yourself, of your environment, of whatever you are doing, that's when you are alive. When you are just doing things emotionally or autopilotly, or just automatically, you're just moving about, taking your body around and taking your leg. That's the way she used to be before. She just used to carry her body around and just go, because she's thinking about one thing in her head, but she's not around here. And that's what happens to many people. You are talking to them and say, oh yeah, pastor, you didn't say something? I never repeat myself. Like I repeat, for other people I will repeat myself. Okay, you didn't hear, okay. But for someone who say you want to be taught by me, that you are my disciple, you want to really learn, I don't repeat myself. I guess it's your problem. I say, what? You repeat what I say. You repeat. So, but she was not aware even those things that those things are how important they were, things like that. I don't know. I can't even remember the last time I talked to her about that. I can't. I even forgot that I used to tell her that again. Like, you see the way she's slim like this. I don't even want to know what your husband will say. Because for me, if I were your husband, I would say make you just forget about fasting or prayer or anything. Make you go put 10 kilogram or 10 kilogram. Please, I beg you. Make I take you to fattening room right now. That's what I would have said if I were your wife or your husband. I said, let's go to fattening room. For sure, we need some fat. That's what I would have said. But with the way she's slim now, with no fat, no bone, no, maybe I don't. But anyway, with the way she's slim, she will still be going to fast and do solitude. I say, hey, make you don't kill yourself for my house, so. Because even though my own wife is slim, but at least she, I will not allow her to go to sleep that side. But sufficient want to find God, wants to pay the price. She will not pity herself. She will go to the extent of, but still, I'm still thinking she has to put at least 5-10 kilograms. But she's still going. She will not sacrifice her time with God, her priorities. I'm learning to, and also able to learn from observation. Some people is saying, right now I feel like leaving everything, everybody, everyone, and move to Dr. Adela just past Dr. Sunday's home. I have a lot of work to do on myself. Yeah, because the kind of work she is doing, the kind of price she paid, that 1 year is equal to like 10 years, ordinarily. It's a lot of hard work. But one of the greatest secrets that she had learned, apart from solitude, is the secret of self-development. Because for me, they were not educated before. For me, it's like they didn't even go to school. I was just wondering, how would they function? And I was asking her, is this the way? Because I was even thinking at first that they were just the only ones like that on that level. So I said, is this the way everybody that is finishing here? She said, yeah, I was their pastor now. They were even looking up to me. I said, some people are still looking up to you. When I'm thinking that you didn't even go to school. So it means everybody, either they are even worse than that, or they are on that level maximum. Because people are going to school, but they don't have on-ground training, or what do you call it?
Personal development.
Yeah, but they don't have somebody on-ground training, in-house training. So what we had, which is in-house training, you see somebody doing it, somebody correcting you, somebody saying do like they don't, not something you can learn in school, never, in classroom, never. It has to be in-house training. They used to send people to banks those days or to other places for them to go to in-house training, so that there will be the manager, director teaching you. But in this place, in-house training is how you wear what everything it is, from household to professionalism. That is like now, the way you are now is the level of Fortune 500 level. Okay. But for you to get to that Fortune 500 level, you must have somebody in the top 3%. And by the grace of God, I think I'm in the first 1% in the world. And for you to get someone like that to train you, it's just like saying getting someone like Bill Gates to be your personal trainer, or to live in the same house with him, or Steve Gates, or Dangote, and to be correcting you and changing you is almost impossible. Even people who are working with them, they only work with them in the office.
Right.
So they only carry out their instructions, not be trained by them. It's totally different.
Yeah.
So that's what I discovered, that for all those people who are educated, people say they are educated, it's just because they went to school, but none of them have gone through in-house training. And that's why even what you know now, people who are coming to this my house, who read business administration, they want to go to retreat, they are businessmen, they are doing training, they are doing all those things for the company, they are working for some big company, they don't even know what you understand in business or in finance. They don't even know the laws of finance that you know. But you are looking at the right information. You are instructed to get it right. But they went just through the curriculum.
Right.
So, you are a miracle. And that's why people listen to you now and say that you are like Pastor Sunday. The same thing when they listen to Joshua, for example, because you went through the same process like you. But it's just because you people are willing to pay that price. Because you don't have to work like that with me. It means you don't have personal life, because I could call them at any time, 2 o'clock or midnight or 1 o'clock or 3 o'clock, or we'll walk and walk and walk. And when I was working really with them, but now they are working on themselves, but when I was working with them, it was no for an answer. And they were seeing the way my mind works and my mind thinks. And that's why, when I was reading a book, I said, oh, so this guy got the way my mind working too. Because it's not just writing her own book, she's writing it well. Because I read a book before, the book she wrote before that. But this one is totally another level. So, but I'm also happy that even though she's here, but that her husband is able to be a partaker of this. Because it was so diligent to go through all the questions, all the troubles I put him through before I agreed that he is qualified. He had to pass 120 or 140 or...
It was 121 questions,
yes.
200 messages, and write assignments.
Yeah, we could tell them. Let me put What did your husband have to go through before I said I agree?
He had to answer 121 questions on marriage, and to listen to 200 messages and write 10 to 20 lessons on each of those messages.
She naked. That's how to get a wife, a husband for your. That's how to get a husband for your daughter. And they have to come and stay here also at out of that period.
Yeah.
People are saying, "Oh my God, she naked, really?" Welcome to Pastor Sunday training. Not an easy thing, challenge. Because if someone is not ready to pay that kind of price and do everything possible to get somebody's else life, then you are not serious. You are not serious. There are some other people, I will ask her to tell you now. There are some other people who come to this my house. They will just be laughing. I'll be laughing with them. I will sit down like this for 2 hours while they are talking. For 1 hour they are the one talking. I will just be laughing with them. I'll be saying, you mean it? Wow, you are great. Oh. You are so great. You know much. Oh. You are wealthy. Oh. You mean you are so rich?
It was another epic level. We are working, and
All the time now.
It used to be so frustrating. And what we do is, I will just write Joshua, and when the whole thing starts, I'll be like, can this person just keep quiet and get wisdom? Joshua said, are you just meeting this kind of people? This is the way 80% of the world is. And I will be wondering, I'm like, I know at first, I was not really very comfortable with it. I kept asking you that question. And I'll know that what this person is saying, that's when I start working with you and I've known what you know and your capacity. And the person is just coming. Okay, let's say a practical example. And someone coming to tell you that, I made...
Not me, Pastor Sunday.
Yeah, somebody came to tell Pastor Sunday that I made $1 million in 3 years, and I've been working on it and all that. It took me almost 10 years, but within these 3 years I got a contract. Can you believe it? I was able to make $1 million in 3 years and 7 years preparation. It was not an easy task. And Pastor go, oh really? Wow, $1 million in 3 years. What a feat. Wow, I am so proud of you. You are so smart. I'm like, seriously, Pastor? I'd be like, I'm so smart. You're so smart. You mean within the period, let's say 10 years, your 7 years of preparation, and you just hit this contract in 3 years, and you are already a millionaire? Excellent. Bravo. Tell me more about it. Share. What are your ideas and everything? And this is coming, and these people will keep on talking and bragging of what they know, what they did, the contract they now had in this place, who they now had to work with, how they went about it. I'm like, seriously? And the person will go, I'm like, Pastor, why are you doing that? Like, you raised 200 men from grassroots, from the street, to millionaires in 3 years, and somebody is telling you that he made $1 million in 3 years after 7 years preparation, and you're saying, teach me, tell me about it and everything. Why are you doing that? Why not just tell them that they are on the wrong route, or they are not doing something rightly, or teach them and everything? And Pastor will say, well, that is actually not what that person wanted. What that person wanted is that he wants his ego to be rubbed, massaged rather. He wants to feel good. So that is what he came for, and it's what you come for me to, I will give it to you. You want to feel good, I will help you feel good. You want to be happy, I'll help you to be happy. You want to feel important, oh, I'm here, feel important. Use me the way you want it, and whatever you want, I will give it to you. So he will just let the people to be talking and talking, be like, wow, you don't meet. Are you serious? Excellent. You are great. You are smart. And the moment he says that, these people will just go on and on and on and on and on and be talking about things they call achievement, that even the lowest drug addict in the church, in pastor's church, has done triple of what they are calling achievement that they are struggling to achieve in 10 years of their life and everything. So I was like, but Pastor, don't you think that is actually lying? And I was not just comfortable. I said, no, that there is no way you can change somebody. You cannot give food to someone that is not hungry, that they are not going to be able to take it. And some of them will run away from you. He was not telling us that, imagine if I go about telling people everything I know when they come to meet me and everything, I won't be able to relate with anybody, because very few people in this world can relate at my level. So I come down to the level everybody is, and I relate with them based on that level, and what they need, I give it to them. If they want to be loved, okay. If they want to just make fun and play around, okay. They want to feel important, okay. They want to take pictures, no problem. It's what they want, I will give to them. The ones that want knowledge and really prove to me that they are ready for the knowledge, are the ones I give knowledge. So that was another level for us and everything. It took us time for us to get used to that and everything. And that is why I advise people when they come for HMT and all that, I'm like, talk less. So Pastor can get to teach you, because If you just want to share what you know, you continue to share what you know till you finish HMT and go back empty-handed. And Pastor will be giving you high five and laughing with everybody and encouraging everybody how you want it. So if you want to learn, just be quiet and let Pastor teach. But it's so difficult, even when you keep singing and shouting and ringing that bell, it's so difficult for people to just be disciplined to listen and to really get what they think they came for. Yeah. So that was another level of revelation. But I get to understand that now, and you're right, actually, because people will not appreciate what they are not ready to get. That's how I say.
You have to have the hunger.
Yeah.
The desperation. And when I started doing the daily broadcast, you were saying, Pastor, it's like you are an expert in all these topics, every topic. Well, how can you be in this same house? We are talking about you on the only thing we talk about that you are talking about. So how can you know all these things and you are just quiet here? And we're just seeing, we thought, what more about that?
You know, the live broadcast was like really a big blessing to me, because what I observed is that really gave you the opportunity to go into all those depths and everything, because what you were training us on, like the basic principles, capacity building, personal development, and all that, how to be a personality, how to be a person of influence, not to be a biomass. That's actually what the training was all about: knowing your purpose, being an individual, developing yourself, and getting yourself to the top 3% in the world. But what I discovered is that because of the kind of work we are doing, there is no way you would have been treating all this topic with us. No time for that. But because thanks to this broadcast, we are being exposed to all these topics that on a normal day won't have come while we are working, because while we are working on different other things and all that. And I know some of these questions you're even treating now into details. I've asked you some of those questions before, and you will just give a general answer and all that and everything. You just give a general answer. And one of the principles you said then was that just teaching one person most times is like a waste of time. So yeah, thanks to the broadcast, all these topics are coming out, and I really never knew. I knew your depth, but I never knew you're versatile in almost all these areas. But when I started getting that revelation was before the broadcast, though. After you showed us your topics, you were discussing with us that day that you have someone you could preach till the day you die and leave this world, even without opening the Bible again, already made. I'm like, how is that possible? That's not possible.
Repeat it again.
You said you had.
No, not you, not me.
Pastor said that he had someone prepared that even though he do not have to read the Bible again, he will be preaching every day till he dies, and he will not exhaust the sermon that he has prepared. I was like, the first time he said, I said, how is that possible? How can you say such a thing and all that? And he was like, okay, no problem. You want to see my profile? Okay, you come and meet the problem I have. The problem I have is not preparing for someone. The problem I have is all this someone prepare. Which topic do I teach today? So come and help me choose. It was, I think, I and Joshua. I don't know who else was there that day and everything. And you brought it out. And the moment we saw this, you said, this one is beautiful. You said we should choose. So that's how you started enticing us. So we should choose. So we did not know that each of the things we were touching, that is a topic, that each of those topics, some of them had up to 100, maybe within 100 to 1,000 subtopics under it. We did not know that and everything. So I'll just be like, you say choose. You say, okay. I'll say, I choose this one. This one is better and everything. I will be arguing. The other person will say, I choose this one. The other person will say, I choose that one and everything. You'll be laughing. Say, you choose this one. You say, so you want us to treat this one? I say, okay, we are going to develop that into article. I hope you know what you're choosing. I say, okay. So you just click it. And by the time you click a long list, I say, Pastor, what is this? That thing you choose. These are all the topics under this, and you were opening folders upon folders upon folders upon folders of topics already prepared. I'm like, who does this? How many people have this kind of information? Like someone already have messages prepared and kept that he can be preaching to the day he leaves this world every day without running out of sermons.
And never opening a book.
And never opening a book or opening
Bible.
and it's already made. So it's amazing. It was mind-blowing. So I never had any doubt about the live broadcast coming out twice a day, because I just felt it's an opportunity. God just gave you, God through Facebook gave you an opportunity to tell the world, to give a little piece, 10% from all that you know, to the world. So yeah, I'm very grateful for the platform.
But you remember, there is, these people might not know her, but Iriti, you remember that when we started, Iriti was so afraid for me. She even said she would not watch the broadcast. I should stop the broadcast. I said, why? He said, do you want once a month, maybe at least maximum once a week. I said, why? He said, because I'm ashamed for you, because I'm so concerned for you, Pastor. You know, now you are respected. Now everybody respects you and something. But once you begin to come every day, twice a day, but you'll be repeating yourself. It will not be interesting to anybody. No, you know, there is no way. Nobody will come again. You just be repeating yourself. You just embarrassed. So I'm afraid for that shame. I make you tell them.
Well, I understand.
Is that the danger? A big danger for Pastor Sunday?
I understand where she's coming from and her concerns, because most ministers take almost a week to 2 weeks most times to prepare for their sermon. One message. So probably every week, maybe on Friday or Saturday or so, they have to go and spend time with the Lord. Something they say they are preparing sermon. They do that to get, that's when they are even ministering as in once a week. That's for every Sunday they prepare messages like that. So I understand the concern where she's coming from, and she didn't really know you. She doesn't know your depth. She just know you as a person, like pastor of the largest church in Europe, Pastor Sunday. Yeah, but that was never a concern to me, because I have seen what you have. I have seen the topics, and you know, if there was a way I could just make you talk on all those topics at the same time, for me to hear them all at once, I would do it, because they are lovely topics, amazing topics, and you know, and each segment you just touch, they just have so many parts, so many children attached to it, and that never even occurred to me any day that you're going to have a problem with what to, you know, talk about after the experience I've had with you writing articles. That is not even the people reading it that will now be begging you that please we cannot keep up the pace with you reading these articles. Please just publish once, you know, in a week. This every day is too much for us. So that was never a concern, because I already know your depth and everything you have. I've seen all those topics. We could not even, just reading the topics, we couldn't finish it. It was that much. We could not finish just topics. I'm not talking of these subtopics now, just the main topics, to go through all of it. We could not finish all of it. So yeah. Even if you had to even teach 4 times, you will still have a problem with
even
them.
Before I die, if I teach 4 times, it's still not. I will still not finish.
Right. So I think it's an avenue to pour out all that God has deposited in you all these years.
Okay, everybody is a record today that we've never had so long an interview like this. That Dr. Sufficient has broken out the record. Because I know that Dr. Sufficient will be leaving Ukraine soon. I know that, maybe not, I've mentioned it already today, not everybody knows that, so I know that we will not be sitting down with her like this for too long anymore. But, you know, somebody is asking about HMT. Yeah, we're having HMT again now. HMT will come on in January 2nd to 6th. So any one of you that wants to make it, if you are free, you can come again. You can come for the New Year here. We have a very wonderful New Year experience. If you want to come, you can come and do New Year in Ukraine. It's going to be some of the most memorable experiences of your life. So, yeah, Charles Smith says, what a befitting tribute to Dr. Sufficient. Yeah, it's a tribute. That's what I'm doing. You called it right. Yes, you caught it. That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm giving a tribute. So let's go and share the link. Not too many of you have shared the link yet, and I think this kind of link this kind of message must be shared, because I don't think there is any other place you will hear what you have heard today. That what we have heard today, I think, you know, we might go throughout the whole world and listen to messages and still not be able to hear all that you heard today. So let's go and share the message, and let's keep it. Let everybody keep a copy of this message for himself, because the wisdom, so much wisdom in this something today, that it will, you know, I think everybody should save these things for themselves. Everybody should save this experience of today for yourselves, because so much, because this is someone living with me in the same house. And this is not just talking about me, but talking about our own transformation. And I am talking about our own transformation also. So this is, and this is the way to learn. This is the way to learn. You know, this is the best way to learn, through interaction. And so, thank you so much, Pastor Sufficient.
Thank you, Pastor.
And thank you so much, everyone. Maybe you want to say bye to the people.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us for so long. And it was a privilege being with you today, and special thanks to you, Pastor, for the privilege and the opportunity.
It's a what privilege to learn from you, Dr. Sufficient. Thank you.
Thank you.
God bless.
Bye.
Thank you so much.